Hey everyone, it's Basso from Iron Lotus Personal Training. Thanks for checking out this video. I quickly want to touch on high intensity interval training because it's a very popular subject. It's very important to put into your exercise regime. And I still think, even though it's a relatively simple concept, people get a little lost about their options and how exactly they should do it. So there are different ways to think about the intervals that you accomplish. If you can see right now, I'm on a bike right here. This is called an Airdyne. Schwinn makes this bike. I love it for doing intervals. It's a great tool. You don't have to use a bike. You could do sprints. You can use a rower. You can use bodyweight exercises, and I'm going to talk about that afterwards. But this is a pretty compact piece of equipment, relatively cheap too and inexpensive, and it'll last you a long time. And it's great to do high intensity intervals on it. One of the great things about it is because it has a fan, much like a rower, and the harder you go, sort of the more resistance you get. And I like that, rather than having a bike with preset intervals and you have to kind of push the button up and down and it just stays that difficulty. It's kind of weird. I like the fan-based system here. So I oftentimes will use the bike, and you have to have a timer. It's not good enough just to count in your head. I'm telling you that it's a must to have a counter, because if you don't have some sort of device, a timer, some sort of alarm, you're going to go over time for sure. Because in the beginning, the intervals are easy to do. As you get more tired, you're going to want more rest and you're just not going to do it. So I actually have two that I use. I have this Everlast interval timer, which I really like. It's loud, it has a vibration mode if you want it to be quiet. You can clip it onto your belt. It has some magnets on it so I can kind of stick it up on my equipment if I need to. It has many different settings for time. It's clear and easy to read. It's pretty cheap, so I like it. However, I also have the Gym Boss app on my iPhone, which is great as well. It's free and it beeps relatively loud. If you're in a loud gym, you might have trouble hearing it, but you can probably put headphones in. That kind of annoys me because I don't like to have anything in my ears, especially when I'm doing high intensity intervals. But it's free and it works. It's the Gym Boss app, so you can check that out and download it for free. The Gym Boss interval app, I think. So once you've got that down, it's very basic. The next thing is to decide what your intervals are going to be. I like 30 on, 30 off. It's a great way to do things initially, especially if you're just doing one thing. Like, for example, I'm just going to ride the bike. I'm not moving on to anything else right now. I'm just going to do a couple of rounds on the Airdyne. Normally I would do, if I'm really getting into a high intensity workout with the bike, I will do 20 rounds. That's a great way to either start off what's going to be a bigger workout or just get a high intensity workout in. I really like it. 20 minutes. It's 20 rounds, roughly last about 20 minutes or so between warming up and stretching afterwards and stuff. And you get a great workout in. So 30 on, 30 off is what I like. And I'm just going to give you a quick example. So I'm going to click this on my pants here and you can hear that it went off. And then initially, for the first couple rounds, I'm going to keep my RPMs at probably about 60%. So I'm thinking it's warming up in the thing. So by the time I'm at round 20, it gets very intense. But the important part about high intensity interval training is to push it. It doesn't mean you have to go all the way out on the first round. The idea is you want to be intense about it. So, you heard it go off. It was 30. It has a warning on it if you want to set it for that. So I kind of knew the 30 was coming up, but as you can tell,
I'm out of breath. My heart rate's definitely up, and that wasn't even as hard as I could go, and it gets more intense. You want to take the full 30 rest. Probably shouldn't be talking, should be doing more breathing, and then the 30 seconds comes up pretty quick, and we do it again. So, now, if I keep going, basically, I'm going to be way too out of breath to even talk to you. But you get the picture here. The whole point of it is to be intense. The benefit happens with the recovery and then the ability to keep going. That's really the big difference. All out bouts, rest, all out bout, rest. This kind of intensity, bringing your heart rate really high, forces your body to the next level. There's no way it can drag. It's also kind of, when you put it in terms of how safe intense exercise is, sitting on a bike, kind of doing it this way, is probably the most safe. All out sprinting is really tough. All out rowing can be really tough. Sitting on a bike, you're not really putting a ton of abuse on your joints, and nor are you really when you're rowing. I do find, however, though, people who are beginners at this stuff, it could bother their back a little bit. Their posture might be weird. So the bike is a great option for the high intensity stuff. It's a safe way to start it. Low impact on the body. Not a lot of ways to go wrong. So, timer, pick your intervals. You don't have to do 30 and 30. You can build up and start doing 30 seconds on, 15 seconds off, or you can do 15 seconds on, 30 seconds off in the beginning, whatever works. But you need to have the timer, some sort of timer, and then you get after it. Now, there's another way to think of the intervals as well. And in that regard, I want you to think more about just high intensity training and how it benefits you. In my DBX3 functional fat loss program, I have some conditioning videos. They combine elements of kettlebell swinging and body weight exercises like burpees, mountain climbers, jumping jacks, and some other fun stuff. The idea there is that those intervals are actually longer. They're about 5 minutes long, 6 minutes, and 7 minutes. All under 10 minutes, all pretty much over 5 minutes, all high intensity. So, you're moving from one exercise to the other though. It's not just one directional, like the bike for example, or like rowing, or like sprinting. You're moving around from kettlebell swings to something else. And I'm going to link one of the videos from my DBX3 program in the bottom here so you can check it out and you can even try and do it. But the idea is that you could, if you had limited time, you could just execute one of those 5 to 7 minute workouts, high intensity workouts, into your day. You can do it once, then rest for an extended period of time, like maybe 2 minutes, and do it again. Or you can squeeze it in because it's better than doing nothing. Or you can do 1 in the morning, 1 in the afternoon, 1 in the evening. However you want to arrange it. But the point is, it gives you another taste of high intensity intervals. So changing the mechanism by which you do it, not just riding a bike, not just running, but implementing those other movements like the kettlebell swings, allows you to work your hamstrings, your core more. Sitting down kind of shuts down the core. So if you do the DBX3 conditioning videos, you activate your core more, you activate your legs a whole lot more, especially with things like burpees. Of course, you're in a push-up position. So there's all different ways to look at it. But the idea of high intensity intervals, I don't want you to get caught up in a box and say that it only is 30 on, 30 off. This is one way to do it. Another way to look at it would be to do a longer high intensity workout and give yourself longer rest in between. So definitely find a way to implement high intensity intervals in different ways into your workout, and definitely go and try the DBX3 functional fat loss conditioning video and see if you can keep up. I even include original music in that video, which you can download, so that you actually have markers for when you're supposed to change exercises, so it becomes quite easy to understand. All right, check it out. Thanks for listening.